One of the most overlooked elements about Sorare Global Fantasy Football is that it's a game played in real time. So what that means is you can't just turn the game on and start a game with one of your pals. You need to wait for actual football to happen. And because this game is played in real time and with real money, it means mistakes can be very difficult to overcome and they can take a long time to recover from. And over the last 2.5, 3 years of me playing Sorare, I've came up with a bunch of different hacks, shortcuts, cheats. And over the last 2.5, 3 years playing Sorare, I've came up with my top 3 hacks to bridge that knowledge gap so that no matter when you're starting to play this game, you don't need to worry about going across every league and every club in the world and becoming an expert, translating all the news, who's in the team, who's been suspended, who's transferred, who's the new manager. These hacks, these shortcuts will help you bridge that gap without quite all the legwork that I would normally have to go through for it. If you're brand new to Sorare and you haven't even opened your account yet, there's a link in the description of this video that will get you a free limited card once you've bought 5 from the market. The limited card that you get for free, you can keep it, you can sell it, you can do whatever you want with it. The 5 cards you need to buy to get the free card, they could cost £1, they could cost £100. It really doesn't matter. It's the best way to sign up. It's the way everyone signs up. And if you sign up to Sorare without clicking that link, you're 1 card worse off than everyone else out there. By clicking on that link, you do support all the content here at the channel, and I thank you in advance if you do so. At any point in the video today, if you laugh, you learn, you like something or whatever, please do like and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Share and retweet, tell your pals, all that good stuff. Stay out of trouble, and let's get stuck into it. Hack number 1 is the one you're going to have the most fun with, and this is called competition analysis. Now, this might sound like checking out opposition scores and head-to-heads for different teams against each other or whatever, but no, it's not. What we're going to do is we're going to go to soraredata.com and we're going to look for managers that fit one of 3 profiles. We're looking for managers that are always in amongst it in the SO5 arena at all scarcity levels. Really, do not think because you don't play with uniques and super rares that you can't learn SO5 lessons from the teams that get deployed up there. And equally, if you are thinking about coming in at a higher budget, do not write off the teams that do very successfully at limited and rare level. I found this competition analysis very insightful when I was brand new because I would come into Sorare, open my account and buy a couple of players that I knew were great at football, that I knew had high prospects and I was going to enjoy really watching them. And I was so surprised and so let down how often those guys weren't actually that good at Sorare. Now, the Matrix has changed quite a lot over the last 2 years, and I dare say people that I thought were rubbish on the Matrix 2 years ago are probably a good bit better at it now. But the point still stands. There's people out there that know the Matrix, that know SO5, that know the game much better than you, much better than me. And they've always got something to teach us out there. So the first profile I'm looking for when it comes to competition analysis is I want to make a little list of 4 or 5 accounts that are really shrewd and really clever when it comes to winning an SO5. They might not have Kimmich, Mbappe, Neymar and all these guys, but they get in amongst the prizes every week with cards that less people use, that are cheaper to get your hands on, and are huge differential plays when they do come in. The second profile of competition analysis within the Sorare sphere that I would want you to be identifying is if there is a region that you're going to go into that you're not too familiar with already, is get to know the accounts on Sorare that are regional experts, because there's people in Sorare that play this game from all over the world. I think there's something like 35 odd countries with registered users in it, and every league that has cards has domestic experts. You can find them on Twitter, you can find them on Reddit, Discord, all these places within Sorare itself. You can find their accounts, of course, on Sorare data like I'm talking about. But once you've identified who is the regional experts, these are the accounts that you want to be following and tracking. Who are the players that they've bought multiple editions of? They've got 5 of a backup goalkeeper. Why is that? They've got a youth player that has never had more than 10 cards, but they never ever sell it. They sell a guy as soon as he gets transferred. They buy a guy as soon as something happens. All these little telltales, all these little signs can help you with your decision making as well, because these regional experts won't make decisions within their own region that they are not fully in the know on. You know, they don't sell a goalkeeper that has high prospects without them knowing something about it. They don't buy a guy in who's really cheap without knowing something about it. And just by watching their habits and their trading patterns, you can actually figure out quite a lot about some of the players that you're looking at or maybe you already have in your club. The third profile that I'd be looking to identify when you go into Sorare data is role model accounts. You know, some sort of account that's maybe 6 months, a year, 3 months, whatever it is, ahead of you and has a club and has a roster of cards that you would love to see become yours one day, you know, through growth and winning cards and trading in the market, all that kind of thing. The reason role model accounts are really valuable to bring into the club is because when you are tracking them, watching them, and really studying how their progress goes and how successful they can be, is when you get that kind of sober realization of how long it takes to achieve things on the game, what is realistically achievable, and also to the converse of that, you might be quite wildly surprised at how quickly you can actually set out and actually start achieving your targets and your goals. So by using Sorare data, those are the three main competition that I would want you to go out there and analyze, because all these three elements here, from between a mentor or a role model account, regional experts, all the way through up to the SO5 demons, if you've got a little clutch of 10, 15, 20 accounts that fit those three molds that you check out on a weekly, monthly, quarterly basis or whatever, you're going to learn lessons and you're going to pick up tricks from these guys that you don't need to worry about falling into the pitfall for yourself. My second shortcut, my second cheat on how to, bridge that knowledge gap on Sorare is probably my personal favourite, and that is the story behind the story. Now, so often, breaking news will happen. A transfer has happened, a transfer is about to happen, a manager's changed, somebody's get injured, whatever, and the Sorare market responds. That goalkeeper's price goes up, that guy's price crashes, whatever is going on. And as that is happening, I can almost certainly guarantee you 100% of the time, without fail, there is a story behind the story that the majority of the market hasn't even thought about yet. Let me give you an example. Whenever a player gets a really bad injury, like an ACL or something horrible like that, an MCL or whatever, that's going to rule them out for the whole season, for half a season, everyone wants to get rid of them and everyone is going to want to sell them for as much as they possibly can before that injury discount really hammers them. Some people will go out there and think, brilliant, this guy's injured, I'm going to try and buy him off a desperate seller and try and get him at a really good price. But what almost no one thinks about immediately is the player that's going to step into his void and play in his position. This might have been a guy that was on the bench, struggling to get minutes, struggling to make an impact, wasn't really that useful at SO5. But so often, it's the story behind the story is where the real wins are on Sorare for market trading, as well as getting extra SO5 utility out of a player, out of a card that may have seemed to be useless prior to this news coming out. I've often called this the Kansas City Shuffle on the channel, but I'm always a huge fan of when everyone else is going left, you go right, or zig when they zag, all those kind of cliches, But the story behind the story is always the one that I'm always focusing my brain on. As soon as I read a Twitter announcement or some sort of news breaks about a transfer or an injury or something, I'm always thinking about what is the layer behind that, or even sometimes the layer beyond that. Is there a guy that I can now actually go and buy very cheap that very quickly in a couple of days, in a couple of weeks, in a month is going to be wildly more valuable in the market or wildly more useful to me in an SO5 setting? Because chasing the headlines and chasing the transfer of, this guy's just signed for Man United or that guy's just moved over here, everyone else is going to do that as soon as the news breaks, and it's very unlikely you're going to be the first to that. And being the first to news is almost a guaranteed home run of having a successful trade on your hands. So you might not always catch the headlines, but there will almost always be that chain reaction, the unintended consequences of the injury, of the transfer. And if you can identify who stands to benefit from that, it can be a really quick, easy, clean way to get yourself some really underpriced cards into your club and really advance your Sorare journey in that way. Now, the third one and the last one is not that much fun to carry out in practice, but when you actually follow through with it and you get a result from it, it is one of the best feelings in Sorare. It is knowing the bottom dot. If you go on and check all the price history on Sorare data for any card at any scarcity, it's all lined out in a dot graph. So you can see exactly where you've purchased and where you've sold, and it all gets color coordinated for your purchases as well as the general ones in the market. But what we're all searching for is that elusive bottom dot. You have the cheapest acquisition of a card in recorded history. Now, how do we get a bottom dot? How do we get the cheapest price for any card as it's ever been stolen? It's ever been sold at? It's by stalking the market. Now, cards, as you know, are sold through the primary market, which is auctions, and the secondary market, which is manager sales, me selling a card to you or you selling a card to me. Now, with auctions, I have no control over when they come out, and in terms of how fiercely contested an auction will be, you can never tell. But there's some points in the year where you know the auction will be It's most competitive when the guy is just in really good form, he's playing at the weekend, etc. Versus when he's got an injury, the auction's at 3 a.m. in the morning or something like that. And you can set your alarms, you can do all the early auctions, you can maybe even just wait for him to be out of season and try and get one of those auctions right under price and catch a bottom dot. That is possible. But in my experience, the most common way of getting a card for as cheap as you possibly can is on the secondary market and is through direct negotiations with managers. Now, Sorare have unveiled some new features and some new in-game quality of life features that allow you to do things like make counter offers. So if someone sends you a direct offer, you can counter it by what you would accept. And on top of that, Sorare also allows you to link your Sorare club to your Discord and to your Twitter account so you can get into direct communications with other card holders on the game and try and negotiate a deal, try and negotiate a price. Now, if you're trying to acquire a card that is very predominantly only available on the secondary market, there's not an auction in sight, maybe a lot of their auctions have already ran for this year, then you're going to be left resorting to getting cards on the secondary market through negotiations. Now, what I mean by stalking the market here, right, this is something I really want to emphasize with you at this point, is you will be paying attention to targets that you're looking for to get as cheap as possible for longer than a day. You'll be watching them for longer than a week. It might even take a month, 3 months, 6 months. But when you're spending that amount of time, and this might be a really high ticket item that you're really waiting to come into your price range, or it might be something that you're just like, I'm not in a rush to get this guy in for this season, but I want him for next season. Could be a lot of variables going on here. But when cards are so firmly entrenched as a secondary market card, that you can only buy it from somebody else, then yes, they have the power to control the price. But what is very underestimated by new Sorare managers is the power you have in liquidity. When we are actually looking at these cards and when we stock them for a month, 3 months, 6 months, you will get a great idea of who has been trying to sell this card for that whole time and had no luck. You'll have a great idea as well of where the market actually does price them correctly, because so many people list prices on the secondary market are super inflated just because they don't want to get caught with their pants down if some news was to break while they're in their bed or at work or something. And I know when I go into negotiations with a manager for any card, if it's one that I've been targeting, studying and stalking for a good length of time, then when I go into direct negotiations, I've got a great understanding of, you've probably not had a bid on this card for a week, or I'm probably the only one that's came to you in the last month looking to buy this. And that's when the buyer has the power. I've made tons of Sorare mistakes where I've went and bought cards where I've had the power of the liquidity in the market and I should be commanding the best price possible. But I've been so desperate to get the right guy into my team and I can finally afford him. The guy's listed him at this price and I've not done any further negotiations, and then I've brought him into my club, and then within a week or two later, because I've studied this market, I know this player, I know that only one of them sells a week and I know what price it goes for, etc. But I then finally action and I don't push the boat out and really use all my intel. And then a week or two later, somebody else buys him 20% cheaper than what I paid. And then the next guy pays 5% cheaper than him, etc, etc. And then you go 2 or 3 months down the road and you've still got a great deal. You're still really happy with your card. But then you'll look at it and think, I could have saved some money on that deal. I could have got myself a better price on that card. And subsequently, that extra fund would have helped get me a better striker or another goalkeeper or, whatever else it might be. And these lessons, amongst all the other stuff I spoke about in the video today, are the ones that I want to help you avoid as much as possible. If you could drop a comment down below and let me know what you think the biggest takeaway from the video today is, I would very much appreciate it. I love seeing the comments down there and interacting with you guys and finding out exactly the stuff that, when you come to these videos, you maybe knew already, but hearing it from a different perspective really helped you, as well as the stuff that was like, wow, I never thought of that, or I never knew you could do that before. So drop that in the comment section down below and let me know how you get on. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and retweet, all that good stuff. Stay out of trouble, and I'll catch you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.